created in mystery, and their shadow falls across the ages.
People wonder how 5,000 years ago they moved these huge stones.
They reached to the heavens, and some say it is from there that their builders came.
There are a lot of mysteries about it, and we could not successfully produce another one today.
They were tombs and temples, observatories and enigmas, and their power is still explored today. They are the pyramids.
Beyond what is known lies an unexplored world of shadows and phantoms. A land that knows no limits of time or space. From the dawn of discovery to the nightfall of catastrophe. Journey to a universe of the unexplained, the unforeseen, the unbelievable. A place beyond reality where no question will go unanswered. A place where myth and legend are law, superstition a science.
It's time for our journey to begin. You stand in ancient majesty. The pyramids. Knowledge surrounds these library walls, and with these instruments, that knowledge can be ours. "2,700 years before the birth of Christ, most men lived close to the earth, inside dwellings constructed from it. But in the land called Egypt, one man had a vision. He wanted to construct something immortal, something that the world had never seen before, something called a pyramid. His name was Imhotep, scribe, physician, mystic, and architect. He lived in a land that even today arouses wonder, a civilization that may have possessed knowledge that we can only guess at. And Imhotep was the keeper of that knowledge.
Imhotep was worshipped even by the ancient Egyptian as a god. And they made some similarity between him and the god of medicine of the Greek. And he was just like a myth to the ancient Egyptian.
I think Imhotep was definitely a genius for his ability to be exceptionally innovative. He certainly qualified himself as one of the greatest thinkers of ancient Egypt.
In approximately 2680 BC, Imhotep was charged with building a tomb for his friend and pharaoh, Zoser. His intellect rose to the challenge, for Imhotep literally invented the pyramid, and his creation still stands today.
It's an extraordinarily large complex built in stone. He used architectural details translated into stone for the very first time. It stands as one of the most prominent monuments for its size and complexity, and also its lack of information about it. To be able to plan and economically accomplish such a large feat for the pharaoh is extraordinary.
This was the first time man had built with stone, the first time that man had built anything even remotely of this size, and one of the first buildings designed to be a work of art, not just a convenience. Perhaps most significantly for our story, Zoser's pyramid began a cycle of creation that still continues today. This magnificent object is a symbol of genius, of ambition, and of dedication, for it is believed to have taken 30 years to construct. And that construction is not the least of its miracles. Though pyramid building would reach greater and greater levels of sophistication, the basic innovations of Imhotep would survive the ages, though the dimensions and purpose would undergo change. As he built this first step pyramid, Imhotep seemed to improvise as he went along, and as construction progressed, it appears that the great builder improvised both the design and building techniques, unfortunately lost to the ages. Imhotep was richly rewarded for his genius. He became a god to later generations of Egyptians. Even the Greeks deified him. What must tantalize archaeologists and treasure hunters is that Imhotep's tomb still exists, hidden somewhere under the shifting sands of Egypt. Over 100 years after Imhotep's brilliant construction, the pharaoh Cheops built perhaps the ultimate pyramid. And this Great Pyramid, as it is so aptly named, still stands, the only surviving wonder of the ancient world.
There are 3 major pyramids at Giza, and the Great Pyramid is the tallest. So it is looked upon as the grandfather monument, in a sense.
People began to realize that the earth and sky were separate, and this was an attempt to reach it, to reach those gods up there.
There are a lot of mysteries about it, of course. Its accuracy and its alignment, the materials used, that site in particular, in its placement of Egypt. People have wondered, who could create such a grand monument.
One of the most enduring mysteries about this Great Pyramid is what lies inside. Man has been trying to penetrate its interior for literally thousands of years, yet apparently there still are secret chambers. Containing what? Experts wonder.
I would like to know, as everyone likes to know, what are the secrets of the pyramids, what are behind these walls and stones.
Now, what do you think about this kind of passages? People wonder. That's really something that's bothering me as an Egyptologist. This is a mystery of the Great Pyramid.
There are literally hundreds of theories concerning these mysterious passages, and no single theory is close to being proven.
For me, there is some mystery that the ancient Egyptian left that we do not know. And of course, future research and future work can maybe make some light on these kind of things.
And today, the Great Pyramid stands with lesser pyramids and eternal mystery still in attendance. Modern science is determined to unlock the secrets of the Great Pyramid. These discoveries have already unearthed some facts which may force us to reconsider our perceptions of the ancient world. The architects of these pyramids may have possessed knowledge that staggers the imagination. Modern science prides itself on finding an answer to everything. But even today, with our sophisticated technology, we would be hard-pressed to equal the perfection of the Great Pyramid. Perfection that deserves analysis. If we make some simple calculations using the pyramid's dimensions, we discover that the measurements of the base factored into the height gives us the exact figure known as pi, a formula thought to have been discovered thousands of years later by the Greeks. It's fantastic. How could such a monumental structure have been built? Well, there have been many theories over the ages. The builders of the pyramids left no records as to how they did it. Egyptologists can only speculate as to the exact method of construction. Most people agree that the huge limestone blocks were quarried nearby and dragged to the site on sledges pulled by brute force. But that doesn't begin to explain how these huge stones were set in place, nor the pyramid's astonishing precision of dimension.
We could not successfully produce another one today as accurately in the same amount of time. So of course we must wonder, how were they able to accomplish this in terms of technique?
Could the ancient Egyptians have possessed knowledge long since forgotten? Or could it be something else? In the 1850s, a British Egyptologist named John Taylor proposed a theory that has refused to die, namely that the Great Pyramid was constructed not by the Egyptians, but by some superior race for their own obscure reasons. Speculations about their identity range from the high priests of Atlantis to creatures from outer space.
There are theories of extraterrestrial involvement with such sites as the pyramids, but I feel the ancients had a great deal more profound practical knowledge than we would give them credit for.
These people who are saying that some people have arrived from the sky and built it, I think it is a very silly question.
I've seen nothing that would indicate to me that it was not built by human beings. Every mark there seems to be the sort of mark a human being would make. There are marks on the stones which recognize this gang and that gang, the happy gang and the hard-working gang. These are very ordinary, earthy comments for extraterrestrial type magic.
Who really built the pyramids? And why? There are many people who think that the answer to that question is literally the key to understanding the universe, a key that may soon be discovered. The pyramid stands silent in the heat of the desert, defying us to unravel its mystery.
The pyramids were built, each one to honor a pharaoh. There is a name of a pharaoh associated with each one. But of course, no bodies of pharaohs have been found in the pyramids, and so one can question whether they were only burial temples or whether they had another purpose.
What was their purpose? One arcane theory is that they were built in anticipation of a great natural catastrophe.
There are legends that indicate or that describe the pyramid having been built to preserve technology or objects or knowledge because they anticipated the flood. As described by the architect, it is an extremely stable form to preserve anything buried below it.
Is there evidence of this great flood? Some say yes.
There are some individuals who have analyzed the erosion of the pyramid that indicates that about at a level of 2/3 in height, there are erosion effects on the Great Pyramid exterior, which they would trace back to the Great Flood, which did occur.
Another explanation that refuses to die is this ancient astronaut theory. Are the pyramids actually control towers of some interstellar airport? It's very doubtful, but it's undeniably entertaining. These fantastic theories have created a modern-day obsession with pyramids and the powers that many believe they contain. Do these strange powers really exist? And if so, is it possible for us to tap into them? The powers that the ancients created within the angles and peaks that made the pyramid have survived into our modern world. What are these powers, and how do they manifest themselves? On June 29, 1798, the great Napoleon conquered Egypt in a battle literally fought in the shadow of the Great Pyramid. To commemorate his victory, he entered the king's chamber in the bowels of the structure. He went in alone and came out ashen-faced. Something happened to him while inside. And many years later, near the end of his life, he was still haunted by his experience. No one would ever believe me, he said, when asked to tell what had occurred within that ghostly chamber. What did happen to Napoleon? Why were pyramids also built over 6,000 miles away in Mexico? What is it about the design of pyramids that give them their strange power over the imagination of man?
I think that the pyramids are more than burial places for the pharaohs, and they are such a distinctive shape that there must have been some meaning that is escaping us. I think, in fact, I've suggested that they reached to the sky, that the pyramidion tip at the top was thought by them to connect to the sky gods.
It seems that all cultures that have built pyramids have, in fact, had solar cults related to solar symbolism. It may be a conscious identification with the sun rays descending to the earth, which is a beautiful symbol. It might be also that The pattern of the fourfold base symbolizes the four cardinal directions and the geometric beauty of form.